Danny Thomas is here tonight, and Danny has had major success in every facet of show business, from nightclubs to motion pictures to television. And it's coming Monday night, May 28th. He'll be hosting a telethon. If you know, his places he practically started and still supplies a major support to St. Jude's Hospital. And it's going to be televised in New York and the Eastern Regional States starting at 8 p.m. this coming Monday night. Would you welcome, please, Danny Thomas. Well, it's good to see you, Danny boy.
Yep.
Have you been in show business a long time?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I suppose you were pretty excited the first time you appeared in front of an audience.
Nope.
Nope. I was trying to figure out questions. I found wasn't he wonderful? I found myself falling into that trap where I could only ask questions with yes or no, and I don't expect him to say. Can you imagine five years old?
It's really great.
Yeah, for 5.
Sensational.
Do you remember when you were 5 years old?
We had a pool room.
Did you really?
Yeah, and I used to fool around, shoot pool and stuff like that when I was a kid.
Were you any good?
Fair.
Yeah.
But I got better when I grew up, and then I met Joey Bishop, who said, I would like to have you on a slow boat to China because you do not stroke.
You were a pigeon? Were you a pigeon for him?
Oh, such a fit. I had him by 17 balls in a 50-ball game, and he beat me.
There's some good players in our business, I think, who grew up and is in a neighborhood where, you know, you go around and they pick up a few bucks and
sure.
could really, you have to know how to hustle, though, don't you? You can't start off looking too proficient.
No, well, of course, that's the come on. You blow the first couple of games, and then you say, well, let's play for something. Maybe that'll help me a little bit. And they do that. There are a lot of hustlers around. People made a living playing pool for a long time, but I never did. I never did that.
Right.
It just, I seriously played Joey, but you see, he's so fast.
He's good.
He's in the mind
right.
so fast. He'll just drive you out of your mind, you know, and he makes fun of you. And I'm a big patsy with him. I tell you the time we were in the Bob Hope Desert Classic, and it was 7 o'clock in the morning, and we were going to tee off at 8, and you got to practice a little bit, right? And if I don't care, Palm Springs or Palm Beach, 7 o'clock in the morning, it's cold. So I went over and I got a bucket of balls, and so did he. Now, I got my clubs there, and my pro said to me, keep both feet together and kind of crack the vertebrae when you hit a few times before you really take your stance. So I'm doing that, and my fingers were so cold, and I swung, and the 7-iron went 58 feet. And I looked up, and there he was looking at me. He said, what do you care? With your money, get yourself another bucket of clubs.
Bucket of clubs? That's funny. Bucket of clubs. Who did the famous joke? I think I attribute it to Phil Harris or something like that, or maybe it was Hal March. It's a golf story. Yeah. When they were playing and somebody, let's say it was Phil Harris, and Hal March was teeing off and put the ball down, and he whiffed it, which means miss it completely. Took another shot at it that never touched the ball. And the third time he hits the ball and shanks it off about 75 yards. As they walk away from the tee, Phil says, Hal, you forgot your lucky tee. Now, I don't know who did that, but there's another one of those great stories.
There's a lot of great stories. I played with Gerald Ford, former President Ford, plays in our tournament in Memphis every year. He's coming. One year got a hole-in-one, you know. He wasn't looking with a 5-iron. Yeah, well, he had the ball there. You know, Spiro Agnew was famous for hitting people. Well, right. Jerry Ford hit himself.
He sprays them pretty good, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah, all over the place. And the poor caddy is going all over, and now he's got the ball on the putting green, and he says to the caddy, how do you think I should hit this? And the caddy said, keep it low.
I never heard that. That's wonderful.
Marvelous. Keep it
low.
Loved it.
What was the... We're going back reminiscing stories, which are good because you're one of the great storytellers of all times. Who was I? This goes back, I think, to almost Walter Hageners on those days or something. And some guy was out doing terrible things, and he turned to the caddy after this horrendous shot and says, how would you have played that? And the caddy said, under an assumed name. Now, there's some very funny caddies out there, or they got great writers.
There's stories that they claim they're true. In a practice round, they say, Arnie, this man, I don't know who the pro was, but he hit his drive, and then he said, no, what did Arnold Palmer use off this tee? And remember, you know, sir?
I think, go
it's
ahead.
supposed to be a true story. He said a 3-wood. So the guy, this pro, hit with a 3-wood. And pretty fair shot out there in the middle of the fairway. And then he said to the caddy, he's a black kid, by the way, he said, what did Mr. Palmer use here? He said, a 3-iron. I said, you sure? That's what Mr. Palmer used, 3-iron. And he hit it with a 3-iron. He's 50 feet short of the green. He said, I thought you told me Arnold Palmer hit that with a 3-iron. He said, he did. And he said, but I'm 50 feet short of the green. He said, so was he.
I don't care if it's true or not. Who cares?
So was he.
I remember you, when I first saw you years ago, and I don't know if it was in Chicago or someplace, and there's a certain knack to telling stories that have a lot of background and character and color
You
to
gotta
them.
be, I think, from the street.
There's a lot of them come from ethnic backgrounds.
They really come from the street, the stories.
Right.
And they're all sorts of them. I ran into a butte, and I don't know how much time you've got, but...
Go ahead.
You know, I'm allegedly religious, as you seem to point out, you and Bob Hope.
You were praying in the green room just before you came out.
I was praying in the green room, praying that, that you would miss every shot. No, but, you know, Bob, and now Red Buttons has joined the parade. You know, you all know that I have stained glass windows in my car. That came from Carson and Bob Hope. You do know that, well, Red Buttons, I think, came up with the classiest I ever heard in my life. He said, I'm the only Catholic in the world who had himself cloned so he could hear his own confession.
That I like.
That's pretty classic.
That's wonderful.
But because of this religious aura that's been around me, and glory be, you gotta know that no man in his right mind is going to stand and say, I'm religious, or I'm good, or I'm great, or a legend in my own mind, like he said. Oh. He says, Danny Thomas, a legend in his own mind. Oh, you're a great friend.
Sweet, sweet.
I was going to tell the whole world how marvelous you were on the Oscar show. Of course, they saw it, but I never did get a chance to tell you personally. You were really, wasn't he sensational on that show?
What? You see the corner over there going? No. He means you want to do the commercial before Danny does the story.
Oh, all right.
We got time for the story. But
all right, fine.
We'll do this first, and we'll be right back. Stay with us. Okay, storytelling time.
Well, I mean, I got on telling religious stories, or religious type stories, because of you and Bob and Red and others. And there were a lot of cuties. I mean, I don't know if at St. John's Hospital, one of the nuns was screaming, running down the hallway, absolutely hysterical. And the nurse ran up to the doctor who treated her, Dr. Rubin, and she said, Dr. Rubin, what's the matter with Sister Elizabeth? She seems hysterical. And he said, yes, I just told her she's pregnant. And she said, glory be to God. Is she? He said, no, but it sure cured her hiccup. So, stories like that. But I got to tell you the classic religious story of all time, because there are, they claim it's true. I don't know. There's a reverend for a name, a Reverend Johnson from a Midwestern town who addressed the Rotary Club, Clubs of America, the International Rotary, 2,000 men. And he gave a speech on sex education, the promiscuity of the times, the venereal disease, the unwanted pregnancies, etc., and what to do about it. It was a marvelous speech. And he got a double standing ovation. Now, he went back home to his wife, and his wife is the absolute quintessence of Puritanism. She is Victorian beyond Victorian. She wears a dress all the way up to here with a cameo pin and all the way down to her energetic shoes. And she is absolutely as prudish could be. And she said to him, Henry, how did the talk go? He said, rather well, Martha, thank you. She said, that's fine. What did you talk about? Now, no way could this man bring himself to say to this Miss Goody Two-Shoes of the world that he spoke on sex, no matter how he qualified it, like Hayakawa. He can't qualify, right? So he finally said to her, I spoke on sailing and yachting. She said, oh, that's nice. So a couple of days later, she was in the marketplace, Mrs. Johnson. One of the Rotarians saw her. And he said, "Oh, Mrs. Johnson, the Reverend gave a fantastic talk at Rotary." She said, "Yes, I understand it went down very well, but I was a bit surprised at his subject matter. He's only tried it twice." And she said the first time he threw up. And the second time his hat blew off.
Buy the premise, you buy the joke.
How many years has it been since you, and I'm not going to ask you to do it,
What?
the Jack story is associated with you
The,
for years and years, and people use it who don't even know what the story is.
And
I've heard them
always in
say, let's
slow
don't
burn.
play the Jack story. You know, they'll get in the thing and say, well, let's don't look far ahead. And
It came out of, I last told it in 1962. And the reason I don't tell it anymore is because we are loaded with, I mean, we've got 2 generations of kids and young people who have not seen the 2-lane highway, car coming this way and this lane, you going that way.
Right.
We've got CBs today. We've got freeways.
So you
We've
figure
got
it's so
telephones.
outdated, right?
The whole thing is that you would have to spend, it's bad enough I take so much time to build up a story anyway. Oh, you have Jackie Miles said about me, we know the thing about you say 2 Jews got off a streetcar. Jackie Miles said, Danny Thomas would say, in the year of our Lord 1957, 2 gentlemen of the Jewish persuasion stepped from a public vehicle, you know. Because he said, I go that way. But anyway, you can't tell the Jack story. You can't take you too long to explain. It's a country road. This poor guy, this old Jewish man, has a flat tire, doesn't have a jack, and a motorist, a farmer comes by, says, there's a garage, a bus stop 2 miles up the road. If you can get to it, the fellow rents your jack, and he leaves them. And now he starts to walk, and as he's walking, he is musing, and invariably, people who walk alone in the dark will talk to themselves, and that's what this guy did. However, the origin is it's an Irish story.
right.
And I'll tell it to you if you got time. It's an,
Now that I got you into it.
yeah, that what you want me to do? No.
Now that I got you into
Slow burn is what it's all about. Anticipation is always better or worse than, you know, than consummation, in any event. What I love about this story is that, well, is the word consummation, does that mean something to somebody? Everybody laugh. You're dirty-minded people. Now, what I love about this concept, and it's pure Irish humor, that the dialogue, the monologue never changes. Pat says to his wife, I would mow the lawn, but the lawnmower is broken. So I'll go over to Mike's and I'll borrow his lawnmower. And she said, that cheapskate, he wouldn't loan you the sweat from under his arms. He said, how can you say that? Glory be to God, we're married to sisters. We come over in the same boat together. And when times were tough, I loaned him the $10 that time for groceries and stuff. And he's not going to loan me the lawnmower? You must be out of your mind. That's a terrible thing to say. And he gets his straw hat and he's walking down the street. He says, glory be to God. That's a woman's mind for you. I mean, we come over in the same boat together. We're married to sisters. At the time, he needed a little help. I loaned him the $10, and he's not going to loan me the lawnmower. That's a beaut, that is. I mean, a fella comes over in the same boat with you, and you're married to sisters, and you loan him $10 when times are tough, and he's not going to loan you the lawnmower? I mean, we come over in the same boat together. And we're married to sisters, and I loaned him the $10 that time, and he wouldn't loan me the lawnmower. I mean, we're married to sisters and came over in the same boat together, and I gave him the $10 to get to the door and rings the doorbell, and Mike says, Pat, how are you? What can I do for you? What can you do for me? You can take your damn lawnmower and shove it right up your shillelagh.
That's the Jack story. What the lawnmower story.
Anticipation.